What's going on, everybody? Blue Raven here, and I'm back with another Division 2 video. Before I start this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Road to 1,000 subscribers. Guys, we're almost there. We need like 300 subscribers. We're almost there. When we get to 1,000, big event coming. Big event coming my way. Coming y'all's way for all of you subscribed. So make sure you're subscribed so you can get more content like this. So in today's video, we're going to be talking, is Blue Raven leaving Division 2? Am I leaving? Short answer is maybe. Maybe. That's a short answer. There's a long answer to it. Not right now, but not right this second, but maybe. There's a chance. And I'm going to explain why here in a second. Before I actually talk about why I'm thinking about leaving Division 2, I want to talk about what's so good about this game. What keeps me intrigued in the game. So the good things, right? I want to talk about the good things first. So the first thing I want to talk about is the FOMO in the game. The fear of missing out, right? Is very, very good in this game. Like seasonal content, different events that they bring in. Like you really have that, you get that fear of, oh man, that's some really cool gear or whatever it is that if you're not logged in, you're not playing, you're not going to get, you're going to miss out on it. The last game to make me have that legitimate feeling was Destiny, and they had lost that a long, long time ago. But I love that. I love the gear in this game. All the different types of gear sets, all the different weapons to choose from, the different builds you can go through, even though there's really only like 3 builds in this game. But there is, if you're willing to put forth the effort, thousands of different variants of those builds, right? So I like the gear. I like the whole FOMO thing, and I really do like the way the game actually looks as far as the aesthetics of the game. For being a last gen game, they've done some slight graphical updates to the game, but it hasn't gotten a true PS5 upgrade like Destiny did, or like a lot of other games that came from the PS4 era that got that jump in the graphical settings and whatnot. Division 2's never really gotten that, and that's okay because it looks so good, it plays so good that the response, everything is so polished that even though it is from the PS4 era, the Xbox One era, it feels like it belongs in the current era of games. And so I do like that. I love the appearance of the game. I love the way the game handles. And then the last thing I want to say that's really good about this game is the apparel. Fashion is like is always one of my top things when it comes to playing an MMO, is being able to make my character look so unique to me. Everything has to match. I'm really weird about things having to match. But other than that, I like to have the variety. Now, a lot of the variety, is it behind a pay window? Yeah, but all games fashions, a lot of their best fashions behind a pay window. But there is a lot of free, especially through the seasonal pass. There's usually one free fashion set you're going to get through the season pass just for free, just for playing the game, right? They have events where they give away free stuff all the time, like with the spring event, with the cherry blossom event. There was, I want to say, 3 complete sets of fashion you can get. So they're really good about appeasing the audience, their fan base with that. Now I want to talk about the bad. Why I'm thinking about leaving the Division 2. For now. I may come back to it later, but why I'm contemplating leaving. So there's a lot of mistakes that they're making right now that every big MMO, I think, at one point in time makes. The biggest mistake an MMO can make, especially an MMO like Division, where they started out really good with Division 1. Division 2 came out, had a pretty successful launch. Then Division 2 almost died. Like the game, like the player count dropped dramatically. To the point where they almost were talking about closing the servers and shutting the game down, right? And then in the last, I want to say year and a half, it's had this huge resurgence. It's one of the most popular MMOs on the market right now as far as uh, looter shooters are concerned, right? And because of this newfound fame that they're getting, they're making the cardinal mistake. They're not gearing the game towards the players that got them here, that got them to this point where they're one of the top played games on Steam, got them to the point where people are rebuying the game. They're getting this ton of new players, right? They're not gearing the game towards them. They're gearing the game towards new players. That's the worst thing you can do. New players aren't going to stay. Your veteran players who have been around since day one, since the launch of the game, those are the players you need to be appeasing. These new players, they're going to come, they're going to get what they want, and then once they got what they want and they've gotten what they want out of the game, they're gone. So I want to say, I conservatively, right? For every 100 new players you get right now, you're probably only keep 2 or 3 of them as veteran players. They're going to turn into veteran players. Most of them are going to play the game. They're going to beat the game. And with the mistakes that they're making right now in the game, it doesn't take very long for them to blow through the content and say, you know what? I don't need to play this game anymore. I already got all the content I wanted. I'm out. That's the biggest mistake a lot of them make, is that they start appeasing the new player base, and they forget about their veteran players. Now, the new in-game content that came out in the new season was definitely geared towards veteran players initially, and then it got geared towards new players, and that's where you lose me. That's where I get upset. This is where I have the issues, right? And so what am I talking about gearing towards new players? Well, what I'm talking about is the gear itself. This is a looter game, okay? The game is you go get loot, make your character strong, powerful, to go beat up the enemies, the hardest enemies in the game, and make it easy. That's the name of the game. That's how you play it. Okay? So I've always said this when it comes to looter games. Loot comes first, content comes second, right? As long as the loot is good, the content can be kind of okay, and your player base is going to be okay with it. So your storylines can be short and sweet and to the point, as long as the loot is worth the grind. As long as the loot is there, as long as it's obtainable and it's grind worthy, you're not going to have any issues with content. Content always comes second. That's the biggest problem that people always had with Destiny, was that they would they'd blow through all the content, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm kind of bored of Destiny," and I go, "Well, what's your gear look like?" Well, I don't have that. I don't have, an insane gear build. I just have kind of average gear, and I go look at them, and yeah, they don't have anything really cool, or they didn't grind anything. They just played the actual storyline. They played the content that was available, and then they're bored. And those are the new players. Those are the players that hadn't been with Destiny for 10 years. Hadn't been through all the low times and the droughts, right? It's the same thing with Division. The new players, they're going to want the content, and then they're gone. Once they burn through the content, they're done. They don't care anymore, right? So how do you keep them around? You make the content harder to access. You make the gear harder to get. You don't make the gear easier to get. You make it harder. That's the whole idea behind these games, is it's hard to get certain pieces of gear. For instance, this is one of my biggest pet peeves with Division, and it's been like this since I came back, and that is the raid exclusive gear. The raid exclusive gear in Division is not exclusive to the raids. Okay, there's other ways you can get all the raid exotics in Division 2 outside of doing the raid. If you don't have a group to do the raid, you don't have to. You're fine. In Destiny, and I hate to bring this game up because I don't like this game anymore. I don't play it anymore. I'll probably never go back to it, although they did just finally, I think today, announced Halo is coming to PlayStation. I will definitely be playing that. But as far as Destiny goes, I'm probably they did a Destiny 1 Classic, like a remaster. I might play that, but I'm pretty done with Bungie. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, their raid exclusives, their raid exotics in Destiny, you can only get in the raid. You can't get them anywhere else. The Vex Mytho class, if you want the Vex Mytho class, you had to go into the raid and then the Vault of Glass and you had to go all the way to the final boss. And then once you beat the final boss, you had like a 1% chance of that gun dropping. And once you killed him once that week with that specific character, you couldn't beat him again with that character. You had to go to a different character. So you had 3 shots each week to get that gun. And it took me 40 tries on Atheon before I got my Vex Mythical class in Destiny 2. 40 tries. That's the grind I'm talking about. That's the exclusivity. That's the player base that you want, because they're going to stick around and they're going to grind stuff. The fact that all of your raid gear I can go into the Dark Zone and get is BS. It shouldn't be allowed. That shouldn't be a thing. So that's the first point I'm making, is the gear is too easy to get in this game. They made it way too easy. I'm really pissed off. My best example in Division, as far as the gear being too easy to get, is the Tinkerer's Mask. You're going to see me using it here in a minute in this video. Right now I'm doing my Pestilence build, but I'm going to go over to my Tinkerer build here in a minute, and you're going to see it. I have the Tinkerer's Mask. I did not get it from the Climax mission. Okay, so certain exotics were locked previously up until this season, up until this start of this new year in Division. There were certain exotics that were locked behind the Climax missions. If you don't know what a Climax mission is, it's the mission at the very end of a season. So there's the storyline throughout the season, and then the final storyline part of the mission, the final mission is called the Climax mission, and there's an exotic attached to that mission exclusively. Now, if you beat it on its hardest difficulty, which is called Master difficulty, you're guaranteed to get the exotic that's attached to the mission. Guaranteed to get it. But you can get it without doing the Master. If it's too hard for you, you're not geared for Master, and you don't have a group that can carry you through it or help you through it, and you're just a solo player like I am, Division says that's okay. It'll drop in the lower difficulties, in Heroic and Challenging, but the drop rate is substantially lower. I think in Heroic, back when I was grinding for the Tinkerer's Mask, I want to say it had like a 3% drop rate from Heroic. And Heroic is the next hardest difficulty next to Master. It goes Master, Heroic, Challenge, Hard, Normal. So Heroic is the next. So 100% chance Master, 3% chance on Heroic. I was okay with that. I grinded. There's videos on my channel of me grinding for like 2 weeks trying to get the Tinkerer's Mask with no luck. But I was okay with that because I knew eventually I would get it. Eventually I would go back and I would go in there and it would drop for me, and I'd be super excited that all the time I put into it was worth it because I finally got the piece that I wanted, the mask. Then this season comes out and they go, excluding the last Climax mission and the new one that's getting ready to come, all the previous Climax missions, you can now get their exotic exclusives without doing the Climax mission. All you have to do is get your retaliation up to 300%, and then do a retaliation at 300%, and then wait for the Black Tusk to have a Black Tusk kill squad show up and ambush you. If you kill that Black Tusk kill squad, it'll drop a blueprint for something, for an exotic that you don't currently have, a blueprint exotic that you don't have. You may have the exotic, but you don't have the blueprint for it. So when you kill him, it looks at your account and goes, okay, he already has all of these blueprints, so we're going to give him this blueprint, right? And there's a chance at killing him, the Black Tusk, to get the Tinkerer's Mask blueprint. It took me 2 tries, guys. 2 tries. 2 different retaliations at 300%. The second time, I got the BTSU, killed him, Tinkerer's Mask drop. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I found out about it online, so I was reading online about it, and then I was like, but you have to farm up the materials for it, right? Okay, so there's still a bit of a grind to it. Like, I need to go and farm up a certain amount of material after I get the blueprint, and then I can craft it, right? I go to the crafting table, I look at the blueprint, and I already have all the materials. I don't need to go do anything. I craft it, boom, I have it. I'm like, yes! I'm going to make a video. I'm going to do a build guide video on this. I'm super excited for it. And as soon as I was getting ready to start the build guide, this is what prompt me to do this video, is I realized I don't have to do the manager mission ever again. I didn't even get the loot from that mission. I did all that. I wasted all that time, and all I had to do was just wait. And they're just going to give it to me, essentially. They're just going to give me the mask. I just had to wait. I didn't have to grind that. And that's what pisses me off, is I put in the time thinking I was going to get rewarded, and instead I just had to wait. I didn't have to put in that time. I could have done something completely different. I could have gone and got some more hunter masks or something else other than grinding for the Tinkerer's mask, and because I was going to get it anyways. That is one of the biggest problems with this game, and that is specifically because of new players. New players don't understand how the climax missions work, even though there's tutorials that explain how it works, and because they don't know how to trigger them, they're not ever going to have access, and they don't want to look it up and see how to do it. It makes it too difficult for a new player to try to figure out how to get that mask. So instead, they're like, hey, retaliations are a thing that you're going to be doing as a new player. So we're just going to add these in so that way it's easier for the new players to get this gear. It shouldn't be easier for the new players to get this gear. It should be super hard. Right? So the Tinkerer's Mask was the big thing that really set me to doing this video. So So, like I said, what they're trying to do is reach a larger audience than their established audience, and they're going to lose their established audience because the established audience, like, I don't want to call anybody out by name. That's not what I do, and I love everybody who makes content for Division. I think they all do a great job. I respect the hell out of all of them. But I am watching a couple of them, and I'm seeing that one person's videos are starting to get further and further apart. Their live streams and their actual videos that they're putting out for Division are getting further and further apart. Why is that? Because there's no content for them to put out. There's other people who I'm watching who are still doing content every day, but then I look and I go, I have an issue with the escalated missions with the token system, because as a solo player, if I do a tier 3, I have to put up 7 tokens. If I die and I make a mistake, I lose those 7 tokens. If I win, I only net 3 tokens. It's very it's the player is at the disadvantage. It's like playing in a casino, right? The house has the advantage always, and that's how it feels in escalated missions right now. If you're not in a group of people, and you mess up, you're going to lose a lot of your tokens really quickly. And then I look at people that I'm watching online, and some of them where they've been doing tier 10s since escalated missions basically started, they have 999 tokens. The token system is irrelevant to them. They don't even care that it's even there because they have all the tokens they need. They literally don't need any more tokens, so it doesn't matter to them. So it's irrelevant to them, and it needs to be irrelevant to me, because to the solo player, if I only have 30 tokens and I go, I want to do a tier 5, I think I can clear it, and then I mess up, I'm back down to doing tier 3s again. I'm back down to doing tier 2s. That's the problem, and I hear they're going to be changing that, but we'll see. But that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. So the latest in-game, I already started to talk about it a little bit. The latest in-game, the escalated missions. Very cool. Very cool in-game idea for veteran players to play, right? For the first 2 weeks that it was out, it was exclusively for veteran players. It was exclusive content to a veteran player. Basically. I mean, a new player could play it technically, because they're going to make the point that they could play it right now technically, but the way the gear was rolling, the way the gear was dropping, you really didn't want to go in there shorthanded. If you went in there shorthanded, you were going to get worked over pretty quickly, and it wouldn't have been worth your time because the drop rates were so low. For the first 2 weeks, escalated missions was for veteran players. Then the third week started, and it went to the new player. It shifted to new players. And what do I mean by that? What did they do? Well, what did they do? But what did they do to shift it to the new players? Okay, they did 2 things. They increased the drop rate in which prototype gear drops. In all instances, from 0 to 10, they increased it substantially. But the biggest mistake they made is they added, and this has been in the game for a while now, and I've hated it in every instance that it's in, but then they added this to escalated missions, and that is the cancer in this game. Targeted loot. Targeted loot is cancer for a looter game. The whole idea behind the escalated missions is you go and you see that purple drop, you don't know what it is. You're like, oh my god, is it a piece of striker gear? Is it Is it a prototype AR that I can use? Is it a weapon I can use? Right? You don't know. In the first 2 weeks, that's how it was. Every time I got a proto, I was excited to get it because I didn't know what it was, what roles it was going to have. Now I just log in. I look at where all the what the targeted loot is for each of the escalated missions and decide: am I gonna do proto farming today or not? I'm doing more key farming in this video than I'm doing proto farming. Like that's kind of crazy because it's on this key thing's on the last week, so I'm trying to get as many keys as I can. I'm gonna do a key opening video probably Sunday. Like the last day I got right now, I think I'm up to like 100 keys right now. So I'm gonna try to get as many keys as I possibly can, save them all up for like the second to last day, and then I'm gonna do a big video of me opening them all like I did when it was bugged and you could get like 100 keys in an hour. It was crazy. But targeted loot it's geared for new players. It's geared for new players. It's not geared for veteran players. Veteran players, it just makes their builds get to their proto builds faster, and then they're sitting there going, I could help new players, I guess, but other than that, I really have nothing to do. And I've ran into the problem. I have 2 complete proto builds on my account right now. I have 2 other ones I'm working on. I'm just waiting for the targeted loot to show up for these 2 builds. I'm waiting for my tipping scales to be targeted and striker to be targeted again. Once those 2 come around again, I'm going to have full proto gear, and then I'm going to be like, outside of upgrading that gear and upgrading my expertise, I really don't have anything else to do in the game outside of event content, like a certain event content. But even then, like the event, if it's not apparel, I kind of don't care because I have all the exotics I want. There's only 3 or 4 exotics I don't have, and those are raid exotics that I'm just waiting for the targeted loot to show up in the dark zone. Once that targeted loot shows in the dark zone, I'm going to go farm that until I get those, and then I'll have all the exotics in the game, and then I'll really have nothing to do in this game. I'll be waiting for the DLC to come out, and then I'll come back and play it again. But I'm really running into that problem of, is it worth my time? Money's never an issue when it comes to gaming. If you're a gamer, money should never be an issue. If you want to play the game, you should always have money set aside to play the games. It's the time. Time is always the issue. Do I want to expel my time, which I can't get back, into playing a game that I don't really see me playing in the long run? And I'm still finding Division fun. I'm still finding Division fun to play, and that's the one thing it has going for it right now, is that it is still fun to play. So, it gets a little bit of a pass on the fact that I'm still enjoying logging in and playing. Even if the targeted loot's not mine, sometimes I'm still doing escalated missions just to get the proto cores so I can upgrade the current proto gear I have. So there is still a reason to grind. But I feel like even that's going to get nerfed here soon, and it's eventually going to be like, it's going to cost way less to upgrade your... Because again, they're trying to get the new players hooked on the game. That's not how you get. You want to know how you get new players hooked? You give the best your veteran players to have all that swag, all that cool apparel, all that cool gear. The new players come in and they have none, and they want to look like that. They want that gear, and you go, okay, we'll get with these veteran players, right, and start doing these missions with them. And they're going to take you through it, and you're going to start. That's how you hook a player. You don't hook them with just giving them everything, right? Targeted loot is the worst thing in Division, period. It needs to go. It has to go. It's killing this game, in my opinion. Some people love it. Some people love targeted loot. Some people love that they don't have to put in that grind. I'm like, but that's the whole point of a looter game, is the grind. You want to grind. I'm trying not to harp on this as much as I am. I'm trying to not be on my soapbox for so long about the whole target loot. It drives me crazy. It takes the looter out of the looter game, right? It takes the mystery out of the game, and the mystery is the best part. The best point I can possibly make to this is go back and look at videos of people when they were playing Destiny 1 back in the day, when Destiny 1 was fresh and they were doing strikes or raids and stuff, and they got their very first Gallahorn. You saw that little, and they bing, and they got the Gallahorn to drop. And look at these, and they have like live reactions to that. That's what looter games are all about. Is that adrenaline, that dopamine drip that drops every time something special happens in the game. And Proto Gear is very special, but they're making it very quickly common. Very common. And you can't do that. It should be the rarest stuff in the game. And I've been playing it. I've been playing this season for, this is the 4th week. We're in the 4th week right now. Or maybe the 5th week. 4th or 5th week. I think we just started the 5th week. But either way, I have 2 complete proto sets, and I'm working on 2 more complete proto sets. And I have a bunch of other proto. I have complete sets of like unit alloy. I have a complete set of unit alloy, so I actually have 3 complete proto sets. I have proto weapons that I have that are really good. And it didn't take, I'm a solo player. I didn't do tier 10s. I was doing tier 1 through 3, basically, for the most part, and got everything I needed to get with very little effort. So I'm just reading my notes because I want to make sure I get everything right. So the biggest thing, like, the game is going to, every MMO goes through content droughts. They have these droughts in the game where, see, here you go, there's my Tinkerer build. I'm switching over to my Tinkerer build right now in the video. Which I am going to do a build guide video on. Don't worry, I'm upset about it, but I'm still going to do the video on it. But every MMO goes through these content droughts where they're going to have a drought in the game where there's not any real new content. There's nothing really cool to do at the moment. And having your veteran players have everything they ever needed, you're going to lose. You're going to lose them too during the content. They're the ones that carry your game during those droughts. The new players are going to leave. They have nothing to really invest in. Again, money is not the issue. It's the time. They have nothing invested, so they're just going to dip out. It's your veteran players you want to keep around. And, hey, I got a blue screen. See, look at that. I just got a blue screen on a random tier 1 escalated mission. And blue screen is one of the best LMGs in the game, in my opinion. Exotic LMGs, it is. But once you get to those content droughts, when your veteran players have all the loot they need and they don't have anything to do, no new players are coming in because there's no content for them to come into, what do? And I think targeted loot is the worst thing that you have. In the game. And these other issues I have are minor compared to the targeted loot. Like, targeted loot is the biggest issue I have with the game. It drives me bonkers that it's a thing in this game. It should not be a thing in this game, and it is, and it drives me crazy the more I think about it. But let's move on. We'll be done with that. We'll move on. The next thing I want to talk about is dead content. There is way too much dead content in Division 2. Way too much dead content in Division 2. What am I talking about dead content? Everything outside of proto escalated missions is dead content in Division right now. Outside of, and then the seasonal content, right? The seasonal content where they make you go do something for a day. Outside of that, virtually everything else, your control points, your public events, right? Those are all dead content. Nobody's actually going out and grinding those because there's no reason to. Retaliations, outside of getting the blueprints that you need to get, nobody's really doing retaliations. They're ignoring them. The raids, again, because you can get the raid gear outside of the raid, 90% of your player base that's solo players don't care about the raids. Dead content to them. Countdown, dead content. The summit, dead content. Because you're only going into those things to do the targeted loot, to get the loot, to get these exotics you're missing. And once you get them, you don't ever need to do them again. You'll never go back to it. Like the summit, there's no reason. I have everything that the summit can give me. All the exotics that the summit can give you and countdown can give you, I already have all of them. So I have no reason to ever do summit again, ever do countdown again. Control points, just like that. Maintain those control points and whatnot. I have no incentive to do that. I don't even care they're there. I run past them. I don't do them. Literally could care less that they're even there. Now, I am not advocating for cutting content. That is the worst thing you can do. Look at Bungie. Cutting content, deleting, taking away players' content that they paid for is the worst thing you could do. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about because it's dead content, get rid of it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is repurpose it. Make it worth players to do. Make it, I mean, and this is just me spitballing, like, for instance, control points, right? You can have the retaliations and the control points work hand in hand with each other. So basically, let's say I take over all the control points in the West End. If I maintain those for 2 days, then I get a special type of currency or a special type of crafting material that allows me to craft something that's super special that you can only get for maintaining the control points in the West End. Because every day, if you're not going and giving out resources to your control points, then whatever faction is in the West End, I think it's the True Sons. It's either the True Sons or the Outcasts. Either way, whatever faction is in that area starts taking your control points away from you, and they start turning red again, which happens, and it actually happens in the game, but it happens more rapidly. And if you maintain them, you get like a currency, right? That can go towards stretch goals or go towards like apparel. Like you can use it to get free silver, for instance, free currency for the store, to where not very much, obviously, but just enough to where it makes you want to do that content, right? They need to repurpose the content so it's worth doing again. Right now, it's just dead content. It's slowing the game down. Is what it's doing. It slows everybody down because you have to run around them, and a lot of times you don't even have to run around. You just quick travel past it. So I have an issue. I think there's way too much dead content in Division 2. Which is saying something too, because there wasn't that much dead content in Division 1. Division 1 is a bigger game. I will argue this, that if you were to start at the very tippy top of Manhattan in Division 1 in the dark, right before you go in that dark zone up in Times Square, and run all the way to the southern point of Manhattan, and then run a V, and you don't quick travel, you just run it all the way in a V, right? The time it would take you to do that is much longer than it would take you to run from the West End all the way down to the south where like Tybal Basin is, and then all the way back up where your District Union is, right? Do that plus run through both DLCs. I guarantee I can make it all the way through all of that without using Quick Step, make it through all that content just running by foot faster than it would take me to run through it by foot in Division 1. In Division 1 just took place in one borough of New York, but there wasn't as much dead content. There's so much dead content, and I wish, I don't know what they can do about it. I mean, it is what it is. It's content that it is what it is. I would love to see them repurpose it. Like they've repurposed a lot of the story missions into escalated missions. That's something. I wasn't doing these story missions anymore. They made them escalated missions, and I'm started doing them again. I'm doing a story mission right now in the video. So there is something they can do about it. Whether or not they can afford to do it, or whether or not they even care to do it, I don't know. I'm just giving you guys my feelings on why I'm thinking about leaving Division 2. Dark Zone's another thing that's dead content, right? Outside of the targeted loot, I have no reason to go into the Dark Zones. In Division 1, the best loot was in the Dark Zones. Some of the best loot you could get was in the Dark Zones, in the harder tier Dark Zones. You had to get up to like that tier 6, I think it was, or tier 5 or whatever it was. You had to go way, way up in the Dark Zones, and if you could kill the enemies in there, you got some of the best loot in the game. That's not the case in Division 2. The Dark Zones are a joke. They're a joke. They're there for a nostalgia, if anything else. They're just there for the nostalgia. So, I just think they need to overhaul the content. Do a huge overhaul. Don't delete anything, but overhaul it to where it makes sense that the content is there and there's a reason to play it, right? And the last thing I want to talk about is the biggest mistake, like I said, the biggest mistake I think they're making is they gear the content towards a new player, not a veteran player. And the biggest example I can give of this is the last I want to talk about. I want to wait for till the end of the video to talk about this, and that was the best example I can give you is a brand new person who's never played Division 2 before. If they buy all the gold package, right, which gives you Division 2, Warlords of New York, and the Battle for Brooklyn. It gives you the 2 DLCs plus the base game, right? You boot up the game and you create your character. It asks you, do you want to start fresh with a level 1 character? Do you want to start at the beginning of the game at level 1? Do you want to start in the middle of the game at level 30? Or do you want to just jump to the end of the game at a level 40? It gives you that option as a brand new player. So literally, this is what can happen in the game as a new player. I don't play games like this, but I know people who do. I know I have family that do this. Oh, I can go right to the end of the game. I'm going to create a level 40. Okay, cool. So what does that give you? It gives me a level 40 character. Okay. So I have the level 40 character. All you have to do is do the first mission in Brooklyn. You do the first mission, which is basically a tutorial mission, right? And then you can travel back to DC. Once you travel back to DC, you can, if you know about it, you can jump into the current escalated missions and do a tier 0. You don't need any tokens for that. It costs 0 to enter it. So you can technically, on day 1, if you're willing to grind out for, like, let's say 10 hours at 0, at escalated 0, you could probably get a full, at the drop rates that are right now, you could get a full prototype set. You could have all prototype gear equipped. They may not all match. It may not make sense. It doesn't matter. You have in-game gear and you played the game for 1 day. 1 day, and you're already done with the game because you already have you have in-game gear content, right? So why play it any more than that? Outside of, oh well, maybe I'll make the gear better. That's the only reason. But literally, I know people who would do that. They would play it for 1 day and be like, well, that was a waste of $30. That's what they'd say to themselves. That was a waste of $30. I'm done with the game. I got the in-game. I got proto gear. What do I need to play the game anymore? Well, what proto gear did you get? It doesn't matter to them. They got it. That's all that matters. I got a kids newbie squad to show up inside the escalated mission, which I was like, oh, that's cool. Watch them drop a proto gear. They didn't, but because there's a glitch where you can be inside of a escalated mission and kill enemies outside the escalated mission, which are much easier, and they'll drop proto gear because you're inside the mission when you kill them. That is a glitch, but I personally think that that's a pay to win. First of all, that's something that I can't stand for either. It drives me crazy. I think if you're going to offer a level 40 character, a free level 40 character, or free level 30, whatever, I think they need to start the game and play the game at level 1 first. So they need to start the game, and it'll even tell you, hey, you have to start with the original vanilla campaign playthrough up to your first character. Once your first character reaches 40, you unlock the ability to you can create a secondary character and they can be 40 instantly. That would retain so many more players, I think, because then they go, oh, okay, so I have to play the storyline first. Okay, so let's start at 1 and get through the grind. Let's start it. Let's get the grind going. And then they get to experience what is so beautiful about this game. But the fact that they can just jump right to the end and never experience anything that's of the vanilla storyline, they don't care about the story. They want the gear. They want the shiny stuff. That's it. And they're gone. So in conclusion, I just want, like I said, I wanted to keep saying this, that I think that Division 2 is a great game. I think what they have here is an amazing thing. I think that it has the same issues that a lot of MMOs run into, but I think they're easily fixable. I think there's certain things that you could do to this game that you could tweak. Getting rid of targeted loot. This isn't content as much as it is a mechanic in the game that you could totally get rid of. It's something that you could totally take out of the game. You could have it here, and you're going to piss off players. Trust me. There's going to be players that are going to be mad that you got rid of targeted loot. But then you're going to have all those veteran players going, hey, this is better for the game. This is a healthier division now, because now you have to grind for your gear. You have to get with a group if you want to do those higher tier protocol escalated missions. to get that higher end proto gear, you're going to need to grind it, dude. Just like everybody else. And that's okay. I think they're too afraid now to do that. They don't want to lose any more players. They don't want to go through what they went through a couple years ago where they almost had to shut the game down. So I don't think that'll ever happen. But, I mean, a lot of games do this. A lot of games, once they get popular, they don't want to lose that popularity, and they start targeting towards new players. And that's the worst thing you can do because your veteran players got you that popularity. And you do not ignore your veteran players. That's the biggest takeaway from this video. I wish one of the devs saw this video, but I doubt it because I mean I'm a nobody. But yeah, guys, I'm not leaving Division. I'm going to be pulling back my content on Division. I got some other games I'm playing now. I got some more games on the pipeline that are coming up that I want to play. So my three day a week live streams for Division, I think I'm not going to. It's going to be cut back to maybe like one live stream a week. Maybe a couple build guide videos here and there, but I'm definitely going to be pulling back my content, my playing of Division 2 for a little bit. Not to say I'm leaving the game. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just not going to play as often as I was. I think that's the big answer to the question of if I'm leaving or not. I hope I explained everything as best I can. I had notes that I written down, kind of almost a script, and I was trying to go through it without, like I didn't type it out. I'm old school. I handwrite everything, so it was a handwritten script, and I tried to stick to the script as much as I could without going too off on tangents. The targeted loot really gets me, so I really got off on a tangent on that, and I do apologize if the little bit middle of this video gets a little boring, but. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that targeted loot's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you like the direction that Division's in right now, the way it's heading? I don't. I think it's heading in a bad direction. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Road to 1,000 subscribers. I got way more content for other stuff other than Division coming up. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification bell for more content, for notifications for when I drop content. I'm currently playing Diablo 4. I'm actually having some fun with Diablo 4. Maybe I judged that. I hate that game not for the reasons of it being a bad game. I hate it for different reasons, but that's for a different video. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, later, guys.